I stand outside the magnificent Crown Plaza Hotel, glancing at my watch for the third time in 10 minutes. So the night air is cool against my skin, a welcome contrast to the tension building within me. Emma should be out any minute now. She's been in a meeting with a client, one of those late-night sessions that happen more often than I'd like. I lean against the sleek black sedan, feeling the cold metal through my suit jacket. So the city lights reflect off the car's polished surface, a perfect mirror of my life gleaming, smooth and without a single blemish. At least that's what I've always believed. I glance toward the revolving doors of the hotel, and there she is, Emma, my wife, my everything. How she walks with that confident stride I've always admired, her heels clicking rhythmically against the pavement. Even after all these years, she still takes my breath away, the way her dress hugs her figure, the way her hair cascades over her shoulders, the subtle sway of her hips. She's just as stunning as the day I met her. As she approaches, I catch the eye of the hotel manager, who's standing nearby. We've exchanged a few words while I've been waiting, just polite small talk, nothing significant. But now I feel a strange urge to say something more. Share the admiration I feel for the woman coming toward me. But look at that stunning woman, I say, half smiling as I nod in Emma's direction. I'm a lucky man. The manager's eyes follow my gaze, and something shifts in his expression, a flicker of recognition, maybe. He turns back to me with a smile, but it's different now, almost knowing. Oh, sir, he says smoothly, his voice low. She charges $1,000 per hour if you're interested. He hands me a small white card. The world seems to tilt beneath my feet. I stare at the card in my hand, the elegant black font spelling out a name I don't recognize, and beneath it, a phone number. My heart thuds painfully against my ribs. I look back at the manager, my mouth suddenly dry. He's still smiling as if he's done me a favor, as if this is all perfectly normal. I can't breathe, the air feels thick, choking. I glance back at Emma, now only a few steps away. She smiles when she sees me, the same warm, familiar smile that's greeted me every day for years. But now, it's like I'm seeing her through a different lens, a distorted reflection in a funhouse mirror. Is this real? It can't be, not Emma, not my Emma. I force myself to return her smile, slipping the card into my pocket. As she reaches me, she leans in for a kiss, her lips soft against mine. But all I can think about is the card pressing against my thigh. Everything okay? She asks, her voice full of concern. I nod, but inside nothing is okay. Nothing will ever be okay again. I can't get the manager's words out of my head. They echo through my mind like a broken record, scratching and repeating, refusing to fade. I'm back home now, sitting in the dark, the business card still in my pocket. Emma's upstairs getting ready for bed, blissfully unaware of the storm raging inside me. How she's been acting strange lately, late night me, sudden trips, unexplained absences, things I brushed off because I trust her. I've always trusted her, but now I'm not so sure. And I need to know the truth, but the idea of confronting her makes my stomach turn. So what if the manager was right? What if everything I thought I knew about my wife is a lie? I stand up, the sudden movement making my head spin. I need airspace to think. I slip out of house quietly, not wanting to disturb Emma. The night is cool, and still the sky cloud over it, blackened out the stars. And I start walking, my footsteps echoing in the empty streets. I'm not sure where I'm going, but I need to move to get away from the suffocating pressure and pressure slaving. I wander for hours, my mind racing with possibilities, each one worse than the last. Eventually, I find myself back at the hotel. The place is quiet now, the lobby empty except for the night staff. I walk up to the front desk, but the manager from earlier is nowhere in sight. Part of me wants to demand answers, but I can't bring myself speed to do it, and instead I turn and leave more confused than ever. So when I get back home, Emma's already asleep, her soft breathing low sound in the room. I stand in the doorway, watching her, trying to reconcile the image of the woman of the Y with the awful suspicion gnawing at me. She looks so peaceful, so innocent. I hate myself for doubting her, but I can't shake the feeling that something is terribly wrong. The next morning, I make an excuse to stay home from work. I tell Emma I'm not feeling well, which isn't entirely a lie. She fusses over me, concerned, but eventually leaves for the office. The moment she's gone, I go into her study, searching for anything that might confirm or, God willing, dispel my fears. I feel like a criminal rifling through her drawers, her files, but I can't stop myself. I need to know. And it doesn't take long to find something, a second phone hidden at the back of her desk drawer. It's sleek, black, and definitely not her usual model. My hands shake as I unlock it, but the screen lights up with messages and calls, all from numbers I don't recognize. But my heart pounds in my chest as I scroll through, and my worst fears confirmed with every new notification. The messages are explicit, graphic, detailing encounters and transactions that make my skin crawl. I drop the phone, my hands suddenly numb. This can't be real, it has to be some kind of mistake. But the evidence is right in front of me, undeniable. I feel like the ground is crumbling beneath my feet. Everything I think about I knew taxing down around me. Hours pass, but I barely notice. I sit in the study staring blankly at the wall, the phone line on the desk, like a ticking time bomb. I don't know how much time has passed when I hear the front door open. Emma's home. Panic grips me, and I shove the phone back in the drawer, slamming it shut just as she walks into the room. She smiles when she sees me, but there's something in her eyes, a flicker of concern. Or is it suspicion? How are you feeling? She asks, her voice soft and caring. I force a smile, the lie sticking in my throat. Better, just needed some rest. She nods, but her gaze lingers on me a little too long, as if she's trying to read my thoughts. I hold my breath, waiting for her to say something, to accuse me of snooping, but she just kisses my forehead and heads upstairs to change out of her work clothes. The moment she's gone, I release the breath I didn't realize I was holding. My mind is racing again, 1,000 questions flooding my brain. How long has this been going on? Why, how deep does it go? And most importantly, why I thought we were happy. I thought she loved me. That night, I lie awake, staring at the ceiling while Emma sleeps beside me. Every time she moves, I flinch, the space between us in the bed feeling like a chasm I can't cross. I want to reach out, to pull her close and forget everything, but I can't. The doubt is too strong, the betrayal too raw. The next day I call in sick again, unable to face the world with this weight on my shoulders. I spend the day digging deeper, tracing the numbers from her secret phone, piecing together a picture that makes my stomach churn. The more I find, the more I realize how little I know about the woman I married. She's been leading a double life, and I've been too blind to see it. That evening, when Emma comes home, I'm ready to confront her. I've rehearsed what I'll say 100 times in my head, but when she walks through the door looking so damn beautiful, the words die in my throat. I can't do it, not yet. I need more proof, something concrete that she can't talk her way out of. So I wait. I watch her closely, noting every detail, every slip, every moment when her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes. All the while, I'm collecting evidence, building a case that I hope will finally give me the answers I need. And the next week is torture. Every time Emma leaves the house, I feel a knot tighten in my chest. I'm constantly on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop, but she's good, too good. She covers her tracks well, and without the phone, I'd never have suspected a thing. But now that I know what to look for, the signs are everywhere, the late nights, the unexplained absences, the calls she quickly silences when I'm around. So the worst part is pretending that everything is normal, playing the loving husband while inside wide. I could have I still love her. God, do I love her. But I don't know if I can ever trust her again, and that thought breaks something inside me in. One evening after a particularly tense dinner, I decide to follow her. She says she's meeting a client, and I nod, smiling as if I believe her. But the moment she's out the door, I grab my keys and head to the car. I trail her at a distance, my heart pounding in my chest, a sick mix of fear and anticipation swirling in my gut. She drives to a part of town we rarely visit, parking outside a nondescript building. I watch as she gets out, glancing around before disappearing inside. I wait for a few minutes, my hands gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turn white. Then I follow. The building is dark, the hallway lit by a single flickering bulb. I keep my distance, moving quietly, my heart hammering in my chest. I hear voices coming from one of the rooms an inch closer, my breath catching in my throat as I recognize Emma's voice, low and urgent. Though I can't make out the words, but there's a tone I've never heard before, hard, almost cold. I peek around the corner just in time to see her hand over a small package to a man I've never seen before. He's tall, with a scar running down one side of his face, his expression hard and dangerous, and my stomach drops. This isn't just an affair, this is something else, something much worse. I watch in stunned silence as they exchange a few more words and then part ways. Emma leaves first, and I duck back into the shadows, my mind reeling. What the hell has she gotten herself into? When I get home, she's already there, acting like nothing is wrong. But now I can see through the act. I know what she's hiding, and it's only a matter of time before it all comes crashing down. The thought terrifies me, but I can't stop now. I need to see this through, no matter the cost. As I lie in bed that night, my mind races with questions, possibilities, and plans. I don't know how far this goes or how deep it runs, but one thing is clear, my life will never be the same again. I can't stand it anymore, the lies, the secrets, they're poisoning everything. I wake up every morning with a pit in my stomach, dreading the day ahead, knowing that the woman I've spent my life with is hiding something monstrous. And yet, every time I look at her, I see the same beautiful, loving wife I've always known. That's like living in a nightmare where nothing makes sense. The woman I love and the woman I'm discovering are two completely different people, and I'm stuck in the middle, not knowing which one is real. And this morning, I decide it's time to confront her. I can't keep pretending everything's okay when it's not. I wait until we're both in the kitchen, the sun streaming in through the windows, casting a warm glow over the room that feels at odds with the cold tension hanging between us. She's making coffee, her back to me, and I watch her for a moment, trying to find the right words. And my heart is pounding in my chest, and I can feel the blood rushing in my ears. Emma, I say finally, my voice tighter than I intended. She turns to face me, her expression curious, maybe a little concerned. Yes? She asks, her eyes searching mine. For a second, I almost lose my nerve, but then I remember everything I've seen. I show everything I've seen. We need to talk. The words come out flat, emotionless, but they hang in the air between us like a knife. I see something flicker in her eyes, fear, but it's gone in an instant, replaced by a mask of calm. About what, she asks, leaning casually against the counter as if we're discussing something as mundane as her plans. I take a deep breath, forcing myself to meet her gaze. I know about the phone. I know about the meetings, the money. I know what you've been doing. For a moment, the world seems to stop. Emma just stares at me, her face completely blank. Then slowly, she begins to smile, a cold, cruel smile that sends a chill down my spine. And what exactly do you think you know, darling? Her voice is soft, almost mocking, like she's daring me to say it, daring me to accuse her outright. I can feel the anger rising in me, hot and fierce. How can she stand there and pretend like this is all some kind of game? I know you've been lying to me. I know you've been sneaking around cheating with some man. Oh, is that what this is about? She interrupts, her tone suddenly amused. You think I'm cheating on you? And the way she says it so casually makes it sound ridiculous and makes my blood boil. I don't play games with me, Emma, I growl, taking a step toward her. I've seen the messages, the phone calls. I know you're involved in something dangerous. Takes you last, then a short, harsh sound that cuts through the tension like a knife. Do you think you know everything, don't you? You think you've got it all figured out? Now she shakes her head, still smiling that infuriating smile. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Sweetheart, the way she says it, so calm, so sure of herself, sends a wave of doubt crashing over me. So what if she's right? What if I don't know the half of it? But I can't let her see that. I can't let her win. Tell me the truth, Emma, I demand, my voice low and dangerous. Tell me what's really going on, or so help me. Or what? She interrupts again, her eyes flashing with anger. What are you going to do, James? Or you think you can threaten me? You think you can control me? I'm taken aback by the venom in her voice, the sheer hatred radiating from her. This isn't the woman I married. This isn't the woman I've spent the last 15 years of my life with. Who the hell is she? So before I can respond, she steps closer, her face inches from mine. You don't know anything, James, she says, her eyes burning into mine. You don't know who I am, what I'm capable of, and you never will. She shoves past me, storming out of the kitchen and leaving me standing there, stunned and shaken. My mind is racing, trying to process what just happened, trying to make sense of the woman who just tore into me like a wild animal. I've never seen her like that before, so full of rage, so full of contempt. As the door slams shut behind her, I collapse into a chair, my legs suddenly too weak to hold me up. What the hell have I gotten myself into? What the hell has Emma gotten herself into? I feel like I'm drowning, trapped in a nightmare with no way out. But I can't give up. I won't give up. I need to know the truth, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much it destroys me. I need to know who my wife really is and what she's hiding. Well, the next few days are a blur. Emma and I barely speak, the tension between us so thick you could cut it with a knife. She avoids me as much as possible, staying out late, leaving early, always with some excuse or another. I don't even bother questioning her anymore. It's pointless. She's made it clear that she won't tell me anything, that she'll keep lying and hiding until the bitter end. But I'm not sitting idly by. I dig deeper, spending hours online tracing phone numbers, looking for connections, anything that might give me a clue as to what's really going on. The more I find, the more it feels like I'm unraveling a massive conspiracy, a web of lies and deceit that goes far beyond anything I could have imagined. And it's not just about the money or the meetings or even the man she's been seeing. It's about power, influence, control. And it's about a network of people who will stop at nothing to get what they want. And my wife is right in the middle of it. I'm terrified, but I'm also determined. I can't let this continue. I can't let her destroy everything we built together, everything we've worked so hard for. I need to confront her again, but this time I need to be prepared. I need proof, something concrete that she can't deny, something that will force her to tell me the truth. So I start gathering evidence. I take photos, record conversations, compile a dossier of everything I've found. It feels like I'm building a case, preparing for a trial that I know that's coming, a trial where the stakes couldn't be higher. As I work, the doubts start to creep in. What if I'm wrong? What if this is all some huge misunderstanding and I'm destroying our marriage for nothing? But then I think about the phone, the messages, the way she looked at me in the kitchen cold, calculating like I was nothing to her. No, this is real. This is happening and I need to be ready. So one night I finally get my chance. Emma comes home late, her hair disheveled, her makeup smudged. She looks exhausted, but there's a hardness in her eyes that sends a chill down my spine. I wait until she's in the bedroom getting ready for bed, and then I make my move. I walk into the room holding the fold of evidence in my hands. My heart is pounding, my palms are sweaty, but I force myself to stay calm. I need to stay in control, no matter what happens. Emma, I say quietly, trying to keep my voice steady. She looks up, surprised to see me there. I need to talk. She frowns, her expression wary. About what? I take a deep breath, holding up the folder. About this. She stares at the folder, her eyes narrowing. What is that? Everything I found, I reply, my voice hardening. Everything you've been hiding from me, the meetings, the money, it's all in here, Emma. Every last detail. For a moment, she just stands there, her face pale, her eyes wide with shock. And then slowly she begins to smile, the same cold, cruel smile she gave me in the kitchen. If you really think you've got it all figured out, don't you? I swallow hard, trying to ignore the fear gnawing at my insides. I want the truth, Emma. I want to know what's really going on. Oh, she shakes her head, still smiling. You don't want the truth, James. You can't handle the truth. Try me, I shoot back, my voice trembling with anger. I've had enough of your lies. Oh, I want to know everything now. ESO, I'm wanting now. Her smile fades, replaced by a look of cold determination. Fine, you want the truth. Here it is. You're a fool, James, a naive, gullible fool who has no idea what he's dealing with. If she steps closer, her eyes locked on mine, and I can feel the tension between us crackling like electricity. I think this is about some affair, about money. It's so much bigger than that. But you've stumbled into something you don't understand, something you can't control. And if you're not careful, it's going to destroy you. I stare at her, my mind reeling. What are you talking about? She sighs, shaking her head like she's dealing with a particularly slow child. I'm talking about power, James. Influence. The kind of power that can make or break lives, that can change the course of history. And you, she laughs, a harsh, bitter sound. You've just walked right into the middle of it. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to respond. My mind is spinning, trying to make sense of her words, trying to piece together the puzzle she's laid before me. But nothing fits. Nothing makes sense. Who are you? I finally managed to ask, my voice barely more than a whisper. She smiles again, but this time it's a sad, almost pitying smile. I'm the woman you married, James. But I'm also so much more than that. And if you're smart, you'll walk away now before it's too late. I shake my head, refusing to believe what I'm hearing. I can't do that. I need to know the truth. She sighs as if disappointed. Then you're a bigger fool than I thought. Before I can respond, she turns on her heel and walks out of the room, leaving me standing there holding the folder that suddenly feels like a weight in my hands. I watch her go, my mind racing, my heart pounding, and I realize with sickening certainty that I've only just begun to uncover the truth. So next morning, I wake up to an empty bed. Emma's gone. There's no note, no message, nothing to explain her sudden disappearance. Panic sets in, but I force myself to stay calm, to think clearly. This is just another one of her games, another way to manipulate me, to keep me off balance. I can't let her win. I need to stay focused, need to keep digging, need to find out what she's really hiding. But as the hours tick by with no word from her, the panic grows. What if something happened to her? What if she's in danger? What if she's not coming back? But by the time night falls, I'm a wreck. I've called her phone a dozen times, driven around the city looking for her, checked with friends and family. No one has seen or heard from her. Well, it's like she's vanished into thin air. And then just as I'm about to lose hope, my phone rings. It's an unknown number, but I answer anyway, my heart in my throat. James, it's Emma's voice, but it's different, calm, almost resigned. We need to talk. Where are you? I ask, desperate, terrified. Are you okay? I'm fine, she replies, her tone clipped. But we need to meet. There's something I need to tell you, something you need to understand. I agree without hesitation, not caring about the risks, not caring about anything except finding out what the hell is going on. She gives me an address, a location on the outskirts of the city, and then hangs up before I can ask any more questions. I drive there in a daze, my mind racing with possibilities, fears, and hopes. When I arrive, it's a deserted warehouse, dark and foreboding, the kind of place you see in movies where deals go bad, where people disappear. I step out of the car, my heart pounding in my chest, and walk toward the entrance. Every nerve in my body screams at me to turn back, to run, to get as far away from this place as possible. But I can't. I need to know. I need to see this through, no matter the cost. As I push open the door and step into the darkness, I realize with sickening certainty that my life is about to change forever. The warehouse is dark, the air thick with dust and the scent of decay. Every instinct I have screams at me to turn back, but I force myself to keep moving forward. So my footsteps echo against the concrete floor, each step louder than the last, as I approach the far end of the space. There's a single bulb hanging from the ceiling, flickering weakly, casting long twisted shadows across the walls. The faint hum of electricity is the only sound besides my own breathing. Emma's waiting for me, standing by a table with an air of calm that sets my nerves on edge. Now she's dressed simply, no trace of the woman who left the house earlier in the week. There's a hardness in her eyes that I've never seen before, a steely resolve that sends a shiver down my spine. For a moment, I just stand there, taking in the sight of her, trying to reconcile this woman with the one I married, the one I thought I knew. "You came," she says, her voice flat, devoid of emotion. She doesn't look surprised, doesn't even blink. "And of course I did," I reply, my voice equally cold. "You said you had something to tell me, so talk." She nods as if she expected nothing less. "I'm going to tell you everything, James. But you need to understand what you think you know, what you've uncovered. It's only the tip of the iceberg. But there are things happening here that are bigger than both of us." I swallow hard, my heart racing. "What things, Emma? What are you talking about?" She sighs, her shoulders slumping slightly as if the weight of the world is pressing down on her. "This is about power, James, control. There are people, very powerful people, who will do anything to protect their interests, and I've been caught in the middle of it for a long time." "Caught in the middle," I echo, disbelief lacing my words. "You're telling me you're some kind of victim in all this after everything I've seen, everything I know?" Her eyes flash with anger, and for a moment, I see the old Emma, the one who used to fight me over the smallest things, the one who never backed down. "Now I'm not asking for your pity," she snaps. "I made my choices, and I'll live with them. It's good, but you need to understand, James, this isn't just about me. If you keep digging, if you keep pushing, they will come for you. So they will destroy you just like they destroyed me." I take a step closer, my fists clenched at my sides. "Who, Emma? Who are they? Who have you gotten involved with?" She shakes her head, her expression one of grim resignation. "I can't tell you that, not yet, but I can give you something that will help you understand." She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a small flash drive, holding it out to me. "Everything you need to know is on here, but once you see it, there's no going back. So you need to be sure you want to take this step." I hesitate, staring at the drive in her hand. Every part of me wants to grab it, to finally get the at the wire I've been answering for. But something in her tone and the way she looks at me makes me pause. "What's on it?" "Proof," she replies simply. "Proof of everything." I reach out slowly, my fingers brushing against hers as I take the drive. The moment it's in my hand, I feel a surge of adrenaline, a rush of fear and anticipation that nearly knocks me off balance. This is it. This is what I've been searching for. But as I look into Emma's eyes, I realize that whatever is on this drive could change everything, could destroy everything. Why are you giving me this?" I ask, my voice trembling. "Why now?" She doesn't answer right away, her gaze shifting to the floor. "Because I'm tired, Jane," she says finally, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm tired of living like this, tired of the lies, the deceit. I'm tired of being afraid. Maybe this is my way of trying to make things right." The raw vulnerability in her voice catches me off guard, and for a moment I see a glimpse of the woman I fell in love with, the woman I've spent the last 15 years of my life with. But it's gone just as quickly, replaced by the hardened mask she's been wearing since this all began. "What happens now?" I ask, my throat tight. And now she says, straightening her shoulders, "You go home and you look at what's on that drive, and then you make a choice. You can walk away, forget everything, and try to live your life. I know you can dive deeper, but know that if you do, you'll be putting yourself in danger. To these people, they don't play games, James. They don't leave loose ends." "I'm already in danger," I mutter, more to myself than to her. "Yes," she agrees, her voice softening. "You are, but it doesn't have to get worse." She steps back, turning away from me, and I feel a pang of loss of something slipping through my fingers that I can't quite grasp. "Emma," I start, but she cuts me off. "Don't," she says sharply, her back still to me. "Just go, James. Get out of here while you still can." I hesitate for a moment longer, my mind a whirl of confusion, fear, and anger, but then I turn and walk away, the flash drive clenched tightly in my hand, my heart pounding with emotion. So when I get back to my car, I sit there for a long time staring at the drive in my hand, my thoughts racing. This is if the answers I've been seeking are right here within my grasp. But do I really want to know the truth? Do I really want to see how deep this rabbit hole goes? I take a deep breath, my decision made. I plug the drive into my laptop, my hands shaking as the files begin to load. The screen fills with documents, photos, videos, all damning evidence of a conspiracy that reaches far beyond anything I could have imagined. My eyes widen as I scroll through the files, the scope of what I'm seeing hitting me like a punch to the gut. Emma wasn't lying. This is bigger than us, bigger than anything I've ever been involved in. The names, the faces, they're powerful people who could ruin my life with a single phone call. And Emma is right in the middle of it all, playing a game she never had a chance of winning. I feel sick, my stomach twisting into knots as I realize the full extent of what I've uncovered. This isn't just about Emma's betrayal, it's about power, corruption, and control. It's about people who will do anything to protect their secrets, no matter the cost. I don't sleep that night. I can't. Every time I close my eyes, I see those faces, those names, and the awful things they've done. I see Emma caught in the middle, trying to protect herself, trying to protect me. And I see the choice that lies ahead of me, a choice that could change everything. The next morning, I'm jolted out of my thoughts by a knock on the door. My heart leaps into my throat, fear gripping me as I imagine who might be on the other side. But when I open the door, it's not the men in suits I've been dreading. It's a process server handing me an envelope with a curt, "You've been served." I tear open the envelope with shaking hands, my eyes scanning the document inside. It's a summons, a divorce petition. Emma is accusing me of infidelity, of abuse, of everything she's been doing. So my breath catches in my throat as I read the list of allegations, each one more damning than the last. She's setting me up. She's using everything she knows about me, everything I've confided in her over the years to paint me as the villain, to destroy my reputation and take everything I've worked for. And with the power she has behind her, she might just succeed. A mage boils up inside me, hot and fierce, but underneath it is a cold, calculating determination. She thinks she can beat me at this game. She thinks she can take everything from me and walk away unscathed. Not a chance. I spend the next few days in a frenzy of preparation, gathering my own evidence, making calls, pulling every string I can to fight back. I can't afford to lose this battle, not just for my own sake, but for the truth that Emma is trying so desperately to bury. When the court date arrives, I'm ready. I walk into that courtroom with my head held high, my lawyer by my side, my heart pounding with anticipation. Emma is already there, sitting at the plaintiff's table, her expression cold and unreadable. She doesn't even look at me as I take my seat, and I feel a surge of anger, a betrayal so deep it almost takes my breath away. The trial's brutal, a war of words and evidence, each side trying to outmaneuver the other. Emma's lawyer paints me as a monster, using every dirty trick in the book to make me look like the guilty party. But I've come prepared, and with the evidence I gathered, I'm able to poke holes in their case, to turn the tables on them. But it's not enough. Emma has allies, powerful allies, and they use every ounce of their influence to tip the scales in her favor. Witnesses are discredited, evidence is dismissed, and the judge seems more interested in protecting the reputations of the powerful than in seeking the truth. As the trial drags on, I can feel the tide turning against me. Every day, the weight of what I'm facing grows heavier, the odds more impossible. But I can't give up. I won't give up. I've come too far, uncovered too much to let them win. And then, in the final days of the trial, something shifts. I don't know if it's the relentless pressure, the fear of exposure, or just plain luck, but one of Emma's allies makes a mistake, a crucial mistake that blows their entire case wide open. It happens during cross-examination when my lawyer manages to catch one of their key witnesses in a lie so blatant that it sends shockwaves through the courtroom. Suddenly, the entire narrative they've been spinning starts to unravel, and the judge has no choice but to take notice. I watch as the tables finally turn, as the truth I've been fighting for begins to emerge. The look on Emma's face as her carefully constructed lies crumble around her is something I'll never forget, a mix of shock, fear, and desperation. The final ruling comes down in my favor. The judge dismisses the charges against me, exonerates me of all wrongdoing, and grants me full custody of our assets. Emma's attempt to destroy me has failed, and as she's led out of the courtroom, I feel a mixture of relief and sadness. I've won, but the cost has been too high. But it's not over, not yet. There's still the matter of the conspiracy of the powerful people who tried to use Emma to destroy me. I know they won't give up easily, that they'll come after me again if I don't act. So I make a decision. I go to the authorities, armed with the evidence Emma gave me, and I make a deal. I'll testify, I'll expose everything I know. But in return, I want protection for me, for anyone else they might target. It's a dangerous move, but it's the only way to put an end to this once and for all. As I walk out of the courtroom, the weight of the past few months pressing down on me, I realize that I'm no longer the man I once was, the man who trusted blindly, who believed in love and loved above all else equals God. In his place is someone harder, more cynical, someone who's seen the darkness that can lurk beneath the knows perfect life. But as I step out into the sunlight, I feel something else too, a glimmer of hope, a possibility. The battle is over, but the war isn't, and I'm ready to fight it, to reclaim my life, to move forward stronger and wiser than before. I take a deep breath, the air crisp and clean, and start walking. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm using the ring and the right to fate. So the past is behind me, the future uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm in control of my light. The plan is set, and there's no turning back now. I've spent weeks gathering every piece of evidence, every thread that connects this tangled web. It's all laid out in front of me, documents, photos, recordings, each one a step closer to the truth that's been hiding in the shadows. I've been meticulous, careful not to tip my hand too early, knowing that the slightest mistake could cost me everything.
This isn't just about clearing my name anymore. It's about exposing the rot at the core of it all, about making sure that those responsible are held accountable. The final pieces fall into place late one night as I sit in my study, the glow of the computer screen the only light in the room. I'm reviewing the footage from the hidden camera I placed in Emma's car, a last-ditch effort to gather concrete proof. It was a gamble, a desperate move, but it's paid off.
Well, the video shows her meeting with the man I've come to recognize as one of the key players in this conspiracy. So they're in a secluded parking lot, and the conversation is clear enough to make my blood run cold. She's in deeper than I ever imagined. This isn't just about her personal betrayal, it's about something far more dangerous. As I watch the video, it becomes clear that Emma has been a pawn, a reluctant participant in something that has spiraled out of her control. But that doesn't absolve her. She's made her choices, and now it's time to face the consequences. I upload the final files to a secure server, sending copies to my lawyer, to the authorities, to a few trusted contacts. This way, if anything happens to me, the truth will still come out. There's no more time to wait. The pressure has been building, the tension growing unbearable. It's time to execute the plan. The next morning, I arrive at the courthouse early, my lawyer at my side. He's confident, but I can see the concern in his eyes. He knows what we're up against. The courtroom is quiet, the air thick with anticipation. Emma's already there, sitting at the plaintiff's table, her posture rigid, her expression unreadable. So he doesn't look at me as I take my seat, and I don't bother trying to catch her eye. Well, there's nothing left to say between us. The proceedings start, the usual formalities dragging on longer than I'd like. My mind is racing, running through every detail of the plan, every possible outcome. I have to stay focused, have to keep my emotions in check. This is a game of strategy now, and I can't afford any missteps. So on, the judge calls for opening statements, and the real battle begins. Emma's lawyer is slick, smooth-talking, spinning a narrative that paints me as a villain and certain the unmerciful husband who drove his wife to desperate measure at me. It's infuriating, hearing the lies twisted into something that almost sounds believable. But I stay calm, my hands clenched into fists under the table, waiting for my turn. So when my lawyer takes the floor, he's methodical, precise, dismantling their arguments piece by piece. So he presents the evidence I've gathered, each document, each recording, a blow to the facade Emma has constructed. I watch as her expression changes, her confidence wavering as the truth begins to unravel before her. So she's still trying to maintain control, but I can see the cracks forming, the fear creeping in. The tension in the courtroom is palpable as my lawyer plays the video from Emma's car. The audio is clear, the conversation damning. There's no way to spin this, no way to explain it away. The room is silent as the video ends, the weight of what's been revealed hanging in the air. Emma's lawyer scrambles to recover, but it's too late. The judge is listening intently now, the tide turning in my favor. So the rest of the trial is a blur, a series of arguments, objections, and rebuttals, but the outcome is inevitable. So the evidence is overwhelming, and as the day wears on, it becomes clear that Emma and her allies are running out of options. So when the final arguments are made and the judge retires to deliberate, I feel a strange sense of calm sinks there over me. I've done everything I can, the truth is out there now, and all I can do is wait for the verdict. Emma's staring straight ahead, her face pale, her hands clenched in her lap. I wonder what's going through her mind, if she regrets any of this, if she wishes she wished Dee made different choices. But it doesn't matter now, the damage is done. The judge returns, and the courtroom falls silent. The tension is almost unbearable as we wait for him to speak. His voice is steady, his words measured as he delivers the ruling. The charges against me are dismissed. My name is cleared. Emma's divorce petition is denied, and the court finds her in contempt for her actions. There's a murmur of disbelief from her side, but I barely register it. All I can think about is the weight that's been lifted from my shoulders, the relief that floods through me. But it's not over, not yet. There are still consequences to be faced, still justice to be served. As we leave the courtroom, my lawyer pulls me aside, his expression grave. "We need to talk," he says quietly, leading me to a private room. Once we're inside, he closes the door and turns to face me. "You won the trial, but this isn't the end, James. And the people Emma was involved with, they're not going to let this go. You've made some powerful enemies." I nod, already knowing what he's going to say. Unprepared, I reply, my voice steady. "I've taken precautions." So he looks at me for a long moment, then sighs. "I hope so, because this is far from over." So he leaves me alone in the room, and I take a moment to gather my thoughts. The relief of winning the trials was overshadowed by the knowledge that this victory has only opened a new front in the war. But I'm ready. I've come too far to back down now. Over the next few days, the fallout from the trial begins to spread. The media catches wind of the story, and soon the headlines cry, filled with the prize scandal. The conspirators have been implicated. Arrests are made, investigations are launched, and additions and the world Emma was a part of starts to crumble. I watch it all unfold from a distance, keeping a low profile, staying out of the spotlight. The authorities reach out to me, wanting to interview me, to use my testimony to build their case. I cooperate, knowing that this is the only way to ensure that those responsible are held accountable. But it's not easy. Every time I sit down to give my statement, I'm reminded of everything I've lost: my marriage, my trust, my sense of security. The scars run deep, and I know they'll never fully heal. As the dust begins to settle, I start to rebuild my life piece by piece. I move out of the house Emma and I had shared, finding a new place where I can start fresh. Strange being on my own after so many years, but it's also liberating. For the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe again, like I'm not constantly looking over my shoulder, waiting for the next betrayal. But the shadow of what's happened still looms large. I have nightmares, reliving the worst moments of the past few months, waking up in a cold sweat, my heart racing. I jump at shadows, flinch at unexpected noises, always on edge, always expecting the worst. I know it will take time to fully recover, but I also know that I'll never be the same person I was before. The media frenzy eventually dies down, the headlines moving on to the next big story. But the repercussions of the scandal continue to ripple through the lives of those involved. Some of the key players are arrested, their careers and reputations destroyed. Others go into hiding, trying to escape the consequences of their actions. And then there's Emma. She's disgraced, her life in ruins. But she doesn't disappear quietly. Instead, she doubles down, trying to paint herself as victim, blaming me, the system, and anyone but herself. It's pathetic, really, watching her grasp at straws, trying to salvage what little she has left. But I don't feel any satisfaction in her downfall. There's no sense of victory, no joy in seeing her suffer. Just a deep, aching sadness for what could have been. Eventually, I hear through the grapevine that she's left the country, trying to start over somewhere far away where no one knows her name, where she can escape the shame and the scandal. I wish I could say that I don't care, that it doesn't matter to me anymore, but that would be a lie. Despite everything, despite the betrayal and the pain, there's still a part of me that mourns the loss of the woman I thought I knew, the life we once had together. But I can't dwell on that. I have to keep moving forward, keep rebuilding. I throw myself into my work, trying to find purpose in the projects that once brought me so much satisfaction. It's slow at first, but gradually I start to find my rhythm again. The hours I spend at the office become a welcome distraction from the thoughts that still plague me, and I begin to regain some of the confidence I lost along the way. Outside of work, I try to reconnect with the people I pushed away during the worst of it, friends, family. They were there for me, and I know I've neglected them, allowed my obsession with uncovering the truth to consume me. I start making amends, reaching out, rebuilding those relationships one step at a time. It's not easy, but it's necessary. And then there's the loneliness. It creeps in at night, when the house is quiet, when there's nothing to distract me from the thoughts that circle in my mind. I miss the companionship, the warmth of another person beside me. But I know I'm not ready to move on yet. The wounds are too fresh, the trust too shattered. I need time to heal, to figure out who I am now before I can even think about letting someone else into my life. One evening, as I'm sitting on the porch of my new home, watching the sun set over the horizon, I realize that I'm okay with that. I'm okay with taking it slow, with giving myself the time I need to recover. I've been through hell, and I've come out the other side scarred but stronger. And for the first time in a long time, I feel a sense of peace. The past few months have taught me a lot about myself, about the people around me, about the darkness that can hide behind even the most perfect facade. I've learned that trust is fragile, that it can be shattered in an instant, and that once it's gone, it's almost impossible to rebuild. But I've also learned that I'm stronger than I ever thought I could be, that I can survive even the worst betrayal and come out the other side. As the stars begin to appear in the sky, I think about the future, about the possibilities that lie ahead, the choices I have yet to make. The road won't be easy and there will be challenges, but I know I'm ready to face them. I'm ready to take control of my own destiny, to build a life on my terms free from the shadows of the past. I finish my drink and stand up, feeling a sense of calm settle over me. The night is cool, the air crisp, and as I close the door behind me and head inside, I know that whatever comes next, I'll be ready for it. Till the past is behind me, the future is mine to shape, and for the first time in a long time, I feel truly free. The courtroom is nearly empty now. The echo of voices still bouncing off the walls as I sit alone at the defendant's table. The verdict is in, my name is cleared, but the victory feels hollow. The gavel that slammed down marked the end of one battle, but it's also the beginning of another, a personal one that I'm not sure how to navigate. I know what comes next. Emma and I will have to face each other one last time, the final confrontation that will put to rest whatever is left of our shattered relationship. Strange, really, to think that just a year ago we were like any other married couple, wrapped up in our routines, our lives intertwined in a way that felt unbreakable. But now I see the cracks that were always there, the ones I refuse to acknowledge. I'm not the same man who walked into this mess. The trial has taken its toll, but it's also made me stronger, more cautious, more aware of the darkness that people can hide behind their smiles. And Emma, well, she's proven to be something entirely different from the woman I thought I knew. When she walks into the room, there's a heaviness between us, an unspoken understanding that this is the end. She's dressed sharply, as if she's ready for another battle, but there's a weariness in her eyes that she can't hide. We're both tired, drained from the fight, and though we've been enemies for months, there's still a lingering connection, a last thread of the life we shared. I watch her sit down across from me, her movements careful, controlled. She doesn't look at me right away, her eyes fixed on the papers in front of her. The silence stretches out, thick and uncomfortable, until finally she speaks. So this is it, she says, her voice flat, almost emotionless. Yeah, I reply, my voice equally drained. This is it. And she finally meets my gaze, and for a moment the coldness in her expression falters. I can see the cracks in her armor, the vulnerability she's tried so hard to hide. But then it's gone, replaced by that familiar hard edge. I guess congratulations are in order, she says, a bitter smile tugging at her lips. You won. I shake my head, the words feeling wrong, out of place. Did I? Look at where we are, Emma. But look at what's left. Look at... Her eyes narrow, and I can see the anger bubbling beneath the surface. Don't pretend like you're the victim here, James. You fought just as dirty as I did. I fought to survive. I shoot back, the anger flaring up inside me. You were the one who tried to destroy me, to take everything we built and turn it into something ugly." Her expression hardens and she leans forward, her voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "Did you think this was all about you? You have no idea what I went through, choices I had to make. And tell me," I demand, my frustration boiling over. "Tell me why you did it. Why did you betray me? Lie to me? Drag me through hell?" She hesitates, the words on the tip of her tongue, but something stops her. Instead, she looks away, her gaze fixed on the window. "It doesn't matter now," she says quietly. "What's done is done." I feel the weight of her words, the finality of them, but I can't let it go, not yet. "It matters to me," I insist, my voice softer now. "I need to understand, Emma. I need to know why you turned into this person I don't even recognize." For a long moment she doesn't respond, the tension in the room growing heavier with each passing second. Then she sighs a sound filled with regret and something that almost great and dad, and something that almost sorrow. I was scared, James, scared of losing everything, scared of being far powerless, scared of the choices I made. Once I started down that path, there was no turning back. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut, and suddenly the anger I've been holding on to dissipates, replaced by a deep, aching sadness. I can see now that this wasn't just about greed or power, it was about fear, about desperation. But that doesn't make it any easier to accept. "And now?" I ask quietly, the words heavy with the weight of everything that's happened. "What happens now, Emma?" She looks at me, really looks at me, for the first time in what feels like forever. There's no anger in her eyes now, no hatred, just a deep, weary resignation. "Now we move on," she says simply. "We go our separate ways and try to rebuild whatever's left of our lives." The truth, but it still stings. The life we had, the love we shared, it's all gone now. Lost to the choices we made, the secrets we kept. There's no going back, no way to fix what's been broken. All that's left is to let go, to accept that this chapter is over. "I loved you, Emma," I say, my voice barely more than a whisper. "I really did." She closes her eyes as if the words are too much to bear. I know, she replies softly. "I loved you too, in my own way. But it wasn't enough. It was never enough." The silence that follows is deafening, the final nail in the coffin of our relationship. There's nothing left to say, nothing that can change what's happened. We both made our choices, and now we have to live with them. So when she finally stands to leave, I don't stop her. I watch her go, feeling a strange mix of relief and sorrow as she walks out of the room, out of my life. The door closes behind her with a soft click, and just like that, But as I sit here alone in the empty courtroom, I realize that this isn't the end, not really. There's still one more confrontation to face, one more person who needs to be held accountable. The mastermind behind it all, the one who manipulated Emma, who pulled the strings and set this entire nightmare in motion. I know who it is. I've known for a while now, but I've been too focused on the trial, too consumed by the battle with Emma to do anything about it. But now, with the trial behind me and nothing left to lose, I'm ready to confront them, to make sure that justice is finally served. I get up from the table, my resolve hardening with each step as I make my way out of the courthouse. The city is bustling outside, the noise of traffic and people a sharp contrast to the silence I just left behind. But I barely notice it, my mind already focused on what comes next. The address I have is in a part of town I rarely visit, a high-rise building with tinted windows and a lobby that screams wealth and power. I walk in, ignoring the curious glances from the security guards as I make my way to the elevator. The ride-up feels like it takes forever, the tension building with every floor that passes. When the doors finally open and I step out into a hallway that's eerily quiet, the air thick with the scent of expensive cologne and leather. I know the office I'm looking for. It's at the end of the hall, behind a door with no nameplate, just a simple brass number. I take a deep breath, my hand hovering over the doorknob for just a second before I push it open. The office is luxurious, all polished wood and soft lighting, with a view of the city that stretches for miles, and there, behind a massive desk, sits the person I've been waiting to confront. They look up as I enter, a smile playing on their lips as if they've been expecting me. "James," they say smoothly, leaning back in their chair. "I wondered when you'd show up." I don't respond, my eyes locked on theirs as I step further into the room. The door clicks shut behind me, the sound loud in the stillness. The tension between us is almost tangible, a thick invisible rope pulling tighter with every second that passes. "You've been busy," they continue, their tone casual, almost amused. "I have to admit, I underestimated you. I didn't think you'd come this far." "I'm not here to play games," I say, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through my veins. "This ends now." Their smile widens, a cold, calculating expression that sends a shiver down my spine. "And you think you can just walk in here and demand that I stop? That's not how this works, James. You should know that by now." "I'm done being your puppet," I snap, taking another step forward. "You've manipulated me, used Emma, destroyed my life for your own gain. But it's over. I've got the evidence, the proof of everything you've done." Their eyes narrow slightly, the smile fading as they realize I'm not bluffing. "And what do you plan to do with it?" they ask, their voice hardening. "Turn me in? Go to the authorities? You really think they'll believe you? That they'll take down someone like me?" I hold their gaze, refusing to back down. "I don't care what it takes. I'll make sure you pay for what you've done." For a moment there's silence, the air thick with the weight of the confrontation. And then, to my surprise, they laugh, a low, mocking sound that grates on my nerves. "You're a fool, James," they say, shaking their head, "but a brave one. I'll give you that." They stand up, their movements slow and deliberate, as if they're trying to decide what to do next. I tense, ready for anything, but they simply walk around the desk, stopping in front of me with an appraising look. "If you could have had everything," they murmur almost to themselves, "but you threw it all away for what? Some misguided sense of justice? Revenge?" I don't respond, my jaw clenches, I meet their gaze. I'm done talking, I'm done playing their games. It's time to finish this. The next few moments blur together in a whirlwind of motion, words, and tension. I'm not sure how it happens, but suddenly I have the upper hand. The power dynamic shifts, and I see the first flicker of fear in their eyes, a small crack in their composure. It's enough. I press forward, relentless, until they finally give in, realizing they've lost. And the documents I've gathered, the recordings, the names, they're all on the table now, undeniable, unescapable. You'll never get away with this, they hiss, their voice trembling with anger. I already have, I reply, turning away from them for the last time. As I walk out of the office, the sun setting behind the city skyline, I feel a sense of finality settle over me. The battle is over, the reckoning complete. I'm free, truly free. But for the first time in a long time, the scars will remain, the memories too. But I'm ready to move on, to start a new chapter 1 where I'm no longer defined by the past, but by the future I choose to create. The past few months feel like a blur, like a nightmare I've finally woken up from. But the remnants still cling to me, refusing to let go. I sit at my desk, staring out the window at the city below. So skyline is blurred by the early morning mist. It's peaceful now, a stark contrast to the chaos that has defined my life for far too long. So peace is fragile, and I know better than to take it for granted. I've spent a lot of time reflecting, trying to make sense of everything that's happened, the betrayal, the lies, the manipulation. It's all been overwhelming, and there are days when the weight of it threatens to pull me under. But I've learned something through it all. I'm stronger than I ever gave myself credit for. I've faced the worst, and I'm still standing. So the trial is over, but the memories of it linger, haunting the edges of my thoughts. I replay the moments in my mind, the tension, the fear, the anger that coursed through me as I fought to clear my name, to the truth. It was a battle I never expected to fight, especially against the woman I once loved more than anything. But I fought it, and I won. So the aftermath has been difficult. Even with the truth exposed, even with Emma's crimes laid bare for the world to see, I still feel the sting of a betrayal. It's not something that will fade easily if it ever does. But I'm learning to live with it, to accept that some wounds never fully heal. They just become part of who you are, shaping you in ways you never anticipated. I've been seeing a therapist, something I never thought I'd do, but it's helping. Talking about what happened, about my feelings, my fears, it's been like opening a pressure valve, letting out the toxic emotions that have been building up inside me. I'm beginning to understand that healing isn't about forgetting, it's about finding a way to move forward even with the scars. The house feels emptier now, but it's not as suffocating as it was before. I've made changes, redecorated, created a space that feels like mine rather than a reminder of what I might have lost. There's a new energy in the air, a sense of possibility that I cling to when the shadows of the past threaten to overwhelm me. I've started working out more, taking care of myself in ways I neglected during the worst of it. It's not just about physical fitness, it's about reclaiming control over my life, my body, my mind. Every drop of sweat, every mile I run is a step away from the man I was, a man who trusted too easily, who was blind to the darkness lurking in his lawn home. My relationships with friends and family are slowly mending. I pushed them away when things got bad, retreating into my own misery. But they've been patient, understanding. We've had long talks, aired grievances, and slowly we're finding our way back to each other. It's a process, but it's worth it. I'm dating again too, though it feels strange, like I'm trying on someone else's life. It's awkward, filled with moments where I second-guess myself, where I wonder if I'm ready to let someone in again. But I take it one step at a time, not rushing anything, just allowing myself to feel, to connect. There's a woman I've been seeing, a friend of a friend. She's kind, patient, and most importantly, she doesn't push. She understands that I'm still healing, still figuring out what I want, who I am now. There's a moment during one of our dates when she touches my hand, a simple, gentle gesture that makes me realize how much I've missed human connection. And it's not about filling a void, it's about creating something new, something honest. Well, the media's moved on to other scandals, other stories, and I'm grateful for the quiet. I still get the occasional call, the odd reporter trying to dig up more dirt, but I ignore them. I've said all I need to say, and there's nothing left for me to give them. This part of my life is over, and I'm determined to leave it behind. But sometimes, late at night, when the world is still and I'm alone with my thoughts, I wonder if the past will ever truly let me go. There are too many memories, too many moments etched into my mind to believe I can ever fully escape them. I think about Emma, where she is now, what she's doing. I know she's out there somewhere, trying to rebuild her life just as I'm rebuilding mine. And though I should hate her, though I should want nothing more than to see her suffer for what she did, I can't help but feel a twinge of sorrow for her. We were both victims in our own ways, victims of our choices, of the lies we told ourselves and each other. But I'm determined not to let those lies define me anymore. I'm stepping into a new chapter 1, where I'm the one writing the story, where I'm in control of my own fate. As I sit here, watching the city come to life with the dawn, I feel a sense of calm settle over me. The future is uncertain, but that's okay. I don't need to have all the answers right now. What matters is that I'm moving forward, that I'm no longer trapped by the ghost of what could have been. I stand up, stretching, feeling the tension in my muscles ease. The day is just beginning, and with it comes the promise of something new, something better. I take a deep breath, savoring the crisp morning air, and smile. I'm ready for whatever comes next. The past is behind me, a chapter closed. The future is mine to shape, and for the first time in a long time, I feel truly free. I step out into the bright morning light, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face. Today marks not just a new beginning, but also a commitment to myself, a vow to live authentically and to seek joy in every moment. The air is fresh, invigorating, and I breathe it in deeply, letting it fill my lungs. As I walked through the city streets, I noticed the small things I once took for granted: the laughter of Chen playing in a nearby park, the vibrant colors of flowers blooming in window boxes, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafting from the cafe on the corner. Each sensory experience grounds me further in the present, reminding me that life continues, regardless of the storms I've weathered. I decide to treat myself to a coffee. As I enter the cafe, the barista greets me with a smile that feels genuine and warm. I order my usual and take a moment to sit at a small table by the window watching the world go by. For the first time in months, I allow myself to simply be. No anxiety, no fears about what tomorrow might bring, just the simple pleasure of existing in this moment. As I sip my coffee, about my notebook, a habit I've maintained even through the turmoil, I flip to a fresh page and start jotting down my thoughts, my hopes, and my plans for the future. I write about the lessons I've learned, the pure importance of trust, the power of resilience, and the beauty of second chances. I outline goals for myself in the personal, professional, and emotional, and as I do, I feel a sense of clarity and purpose taking root. Later that afternoon, I decide to visit the gym I've been meaning to check out. The thought of getting back into a fitness routine excites me. I walk through the doors, greeted by the sound of weights clanging and music pumping through the speakers. As I work through my first session, I feel the endorphins coursing through my body, each lift and sprint a testament to my strength, both physical and emotional. After a few weeks, I start to notice changes not just in my body, but in my mindset. I feel lighter, as if the weight of the past is slowly lifting, replaced by a new sense of self. I embrace the discomfort of pushing my limits, knowing it's a necessary part of my growth. And through this process, I begin to see a future filled with potential. One evening, I receive a text from an old friend, inviting me to a gathering. It's been a long time since I've socialized, and a part of me hesitates, worried about what I might face. But I push the doubts aside and accept the invitation. When I arrive, I'm welcomed with open arms, surrounded by familiar faces and laughter that feels infectious. As the night unfolds, I engage in conversations, reconnecting with people I had neglected during the chaos of my life. I share stories, and to my surprise, I find joy in the exchange. The more I talk, the more I realize how far I've come. I am no longer defined by my past. Instead, I am a survivor, rebuilding and rediscovering myself. Days turn into weeks, and my life continues to gain momentum. I pursue my passions: writing, fitness, and even exploring new hobbies. I immerse myself in projects that ignite my creativity, pouring my experiences into my work. It feels liberating to express myself authentically, free from the shadows that once loomed large over my life. Then one afternoon, while attending a community event, I cross paths with someone new: Sophie, a vibrant woman with a captivating smile. I strike up a conversation, and I find myself drawn to her warmth and kindness. We exchange numbers, and I feel a spark of hope igniting within me. And over the next few weeks, we go on casual dates, allowing things to unfold naturally. Sophie respects my pace, understanding that I'm still healing. Our connection deepens, grounded in honesty and shared experiences. But for the first time since Emma, I begin to envision a future that isn't tainted by the past. As I stand on the precipice of this new chapter, I realize that healing isn't linear. So there will be moments of doubt, memories that linger, and times when I might falter. But I've learned to embrace those feelings as part of my journey. I'm building a life where I'm in control, where I decide the narrative. So with Sophie by my side, I feel a renewed sense of possibility. Together we explore the city, the one adventures, and support each other's dreams. So she challenges me to step out of my comfort zone and encourages my passions. I find solace in her laughter and comfort in her understanding. One night, as we sit on a rooftop, watching the sunset paint the sky in vibrant hues, I turn to her, overwhelmed with gratitude. "Thank you for being here," I say, my voice steady. "You've brought light back into my life when I thought I'd lost it forever." Sophie smiles, her eyes reflecting the fading sunlight. "You're the one who's fought to find that light again," she replies softly. "I'm just lucky to be a part of your journey." In that moment, I realize that I'm not just moving on, I'm moving forward stronger, wiser, and more open to the possibilities that lie ahead. The past will always be a part of me, but it no longer defines who I am. As I lean in to kiss Sophie, I know I'm ready for whatever comes next. Life is a tapestry woven from moments of joy, sorrow, love, and loss. And now, with each passing day, I'm crafting a new story, one filled with hope and resilience, one where I am the author of my own destiny. And with that, I close my eyes, savoring the promise of a future that is finally mine to shape. The past is behind me, and I step confidently into the dawn of a new beginning.